Hey, what's up? I'm Jacob Kaufman, and I'm the Nerd on the Street, and today I am so sorry I totally missed my channel update yesterday. That was canceled, and then I couldn't even get a video up yesterday because I reinstalled my computer and it doesn't have all the right codecs, so I'm going to have to edit this video on my iPod, but I am like, you know what? It is Sunday, and today I'm getting a video out no matter what happens. So, today I am telling you about I went to the Apple Store yesterday. It was not my first time at the Apple Store, so it's not like a Apple Store specific video. But I did get to check out some of their new products, not all of them. But I got to try out the iPad mini, the iPad 4th generation. I'm just going to call it the iPad 4. I know it's not the official name. iPad 4 is easier to say. And iPod Touch 5th generation, the new iPod Nano. I got to try out a lot of stuff. Basically, the only thing I did not get to try out was the new iMac. But yeah, everything else I did get to try. So yeah, I'm just going to be telling you about my first impressions using those. Obviously, it was in a store, and it was kind of crowded. And, you know, more importantly, it was in a store. So, it's not like this is my full-on review of everything. I'm just going to be telling you some stuff that that just came to my mind when I was using these. So the first thing I used was the iPad mini. And this was important to me because the iPad is $500. The iPad 2 is $400. Those things are not within the price range to where I am most likely going to get those within the near future. However, the iPad mini, $330, I'm not going to get it this year, but, you know, eventually the iPad mini may be something that I look into. So, the iPad mini is about 8 inches. That's 2 inches less than the full iPad. That's about an inch more than the Nexus 7, and twice as big as the new iPods and iPhones, or iPod Touches and iPhones, you know. I thought that I would be disappointed with the screen size, but really, I think that what they did correctly was, because the iPad mini is 8 inches and the full iPad is 10 inches, they basically took the screen and they literally shrunk it down. It was literally like I was using an iPad. All of the buttons were just that much smaller, but it was all the same amount of everything. There was no less information on the screen, and I really liked that. I think they handled that very well. I know that it might seem like they were cutting corners, not developing a different UI, but I really think that by doing that, by allowing the full extent of the content on the screen to still be present on the smaller screen, they're basically, you're not getting any less. It's the iPad mini. It's not an iPad Lite per se. It's not giving you less of the experience. It's just giving you the experience in a smaller device. So yeah, I tried it out. It was pretty good. I ran the Peacekeeper browser test by Infinimark, and it I think it was somewhere around the mid 400s, and yeah, basically it was good. It was like an iPad. I did notice it was a little difficult to touch some of the buttons, which I was really not used to, because you know, with my iPod Touch, you know, it's like everything is just, you know, it just works. I know a better way to say it. But with the iPad mini, it was kind of like, I don't know. Like I said, they literally took the screen of the full iPad and shrunk it. So I think that in doing that, they may have created a few bugs. If it wasn't software bugs, then it might have just been harder to touch the smaller buttons. But it was definitely not too much of a problem. And it really did seem like a good device overall. It was fast, fluid, you know, everything you would expect from Apple. So yeah, I did try the camera out, you know, it's a camera. I didn't, like, do camera tests or anything because I was in a store. But, yeah, it was pleasant to use. I did like the feel of it. It was definitely a different feel than the full iPad because, you know, the full iPad is tapered, whereas the iPad mini is kind of like a slab. And I can't say whether I like one or the other better. I think that, I don't know, it was definitely different. That's all I'm going to say. After that, I moved to the full iPad, the iPad 4 with Retina display. And, oh, by the way, I could not tell the difference between the displays, like, in terms of quality. I mean, I'm using a freaking CRT here, so my day-to-day screens are not the highest quality. So, yeah, it definitely did not make a huge difference that the iPad mini does not technically have a Retina display. It is the iPad 2's display scaled down. So, yeah, the iPad 4 with the Retina display, I tried that. I ran the Peacekeeper test. It got about twice as much as the, it was in the 900s, about twice as much as the iPad mini, and it was fast. I can't say that I experienced the, you know, the A6 processor over the i5. I can't see, or I can't say, I can't talk is what I can't do. But I did not specifically see the A6 processor performing better than the A5 processor right in front of my eyes. But, you know, my iPod Touch, I'm going to be editing this video on my iPod after this, and I can definitely tell with my 4th generation iPod Touch, editing video can get a little laggy sometimes. I think that that kind of thing is what the A6 processor would take advantage of, or would allow you to do better. So, yeah, I mean, I saw from the Peacekeeper browser test that, you know, it's twice as fast. They're not kidding. It was just, you know, just in my home screens and, you know, zooming into web pages, I couldn't quite tell. Because Apple really does good with software optimization. So, yeah, let's see. After that, I went and I tried the iPod Touch 5th generation. Now, I have an iPod Touch 4th generation, which is what I'm recording with right now. I believe I'm recording in 720p right now. If I ever got the iPod Touch 5th generation, it would be solely as a recording device. Because right now I have a 720p back camera and a VGA quality front camera. But the 5th generation iPod Touch has a 1080p back camera, which is what my phone has for its back camera. And this is what's really crazy. It's got a 720p front camera. And usually front cameras are just crud because they say, you know, if you're using a front camera, then you can't have good quality video because you're going to be video chatting. You want it low quality. But, you know, there's the added advantage of, let's say I want to tell if I'm in the shot. I mean, I'm looking at the camera lens right now, but I'm kind of new at this. I'm not quite sure if I'm centered in the frame at one particular place or another. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell where it's tilted at. And, yeah, it would be nice to see where you are in the shot, and still have good quality video, basically. So, yeah, if I ever got that, that would be what I would use it for. So if I ever got that, that would be what I would use it for. When I first picked it up, you know, the new iPod Touch is the 4-inch screen, which all of the old iDevices were 3.5-inch screens. And this was pretty big when Apple made it a 4-inch screen. Now, they did not simply take the 3.5-inch and stretch it out like they did with the iPad mini, but kind of the other way around. When Apple made the smaller device screens bigger, then they took it, they made it taller without making it any wider. And they look really weird, I'll tell you that. I will tell you, it wasn't too bad to use. You know, in the Apple Store, they do have those the button things tied to them, so it was a little difficult to use only because it was so small. But yeah, I don't think that the aspect ratio of it would affect me very much. I think it was, it was good. It worked. It did not feel any more clumsy in my hand because of being taller. Now, I will tell you this. It was light. It wasn't, like, astonishingly light. It was too light. Like, I don't know. I pick up my iPod right now, and it's about... No, I won't say it's as heavy as the tripod it's sitting on. That would not be fair, but my iPod right now is the ideal weight. I had a second generation iPod a long time ago, and then I got this iPod, and I could tell the difference. I could tell that this iPod was about half as light, or half as heavy, twice as light, words, but the iPod Touch 5th generation, I know it's still made out of metal and everything, but I've got to tell you, the build quality, not very good. And this is really crazy because I'm not talking about iPod Touches in general, because I have a 4th generation, and it is great. And I thought that I would like that in the 5th generation they stopped using that stupid reflective, chrome back, because that always gets scratched. I have to keep my invisible shield on the back so that it doesn't get all scratched up. Well, the iPod Touch 5th generation does not have that kind of metal anymore. But whatever kind of metal it has, it feels like plastic. I know it's metal, but, even just the entire thing. Whatever's inside, I don't know what they did to it, but it felt like it was empty. Literally. It felt like a toy. It felt like something that I would buy for $20. It did not feel like a $300 device. Just by holding it. Because it was light. It was, I don't know how to stress it other than it was way too light. It was, literally, it felt like I was holding a hollow plastic, very, very strong plastic, but very thin. And I know it was metal, but yeah, I can't think of any other way to describe it. The new iPod Touch is no longer tapered, so it was like a kind of a box. That did not feel quite as good, even though when I'm looking at pictures of devices on my computer, I always hate when devices are tapered. I'm like, I would rather have that full blocky feeling, but I've got to say, and I will say this now, when I got done using the iPad mini and I went over to the iPad and I felt its taper back, I've got to say, I did feel the difference, and I did like the iPad's tapered back better, even though I thought that I would like the iPad mini slab design better. So yeah, my iPod Touch, the 4th generation iPod Touch, I definitely like the build quality better than the 5th generation. Now, I'm not sure what processor the iPod Touch 4th generation has. I think it's the A4 processor. If there is an A4 processor. Apple A4, yeah. Yep. So my iPod Touch has an A4 processor, and the 5th generation iPod Touch has an A5 processor. That's the same processor that's in the iPad mini, and that's in the iPad 2, but the iPad 4 has an A6 processor. So basically, the iPad 4 has the newest processor. Everything other than the iPad 4 has the old processor, and that kind of makes me angry. But, let's see, A4 versus A5. Benchmark. Oh, I'm sorry, A5X is what the new one has. Alright, I don't like benchmarks. They're hard to read. But yeah, the iPod Touch 5th generation, I know it's more powerful than the 4th generation. It did not feel very good in the hand. And yeah, like, Oh, by the way, also that little loop thing, you know, in the back where it pops out, that was not Apple quality. I mean, I know that it's a very small thing, and I usually laugh at other YouTubers for talking like this, but that loop, I popped it out, and I popped it back in, and it just felt cheap. It was not smooth. It did not pop out smoothly. It was like, you know, kind of sticky. And, I mean, I know it was a display model, but, yeah. It just was not what I would expect from an Apple device. So the iPod Touch 5th generation did not like that. Still like the 4th gen, though. But, yeah, let's see. The only other thing I used was the new MacBook Pro with Retina display. And I actually used it right next to an old MacBook Pro. However, I wasn't really able to tell the difference. Not because I didn't do anything. Because I am telling you, I know the power of an SSD. I've got the first SSD I've ever owned in my tower right here. And they are all that people say they are. I'm telling you, SSDs are great. And I do enjoy Retina displays. Although I can tell you I don't appreciate the difference quite as much as some other people do. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if I can recommend one or the other. I can tell you I don't like the space limitation of SSDs. But yeah, I didn't get to experience the speed difference between the MacBook Pros simply because I wasn't there for long enough to run any benchmarks or anything. And I don't like benchmarks anyways, as I previously stated. But, you know, what can I do? I can't walk in and start editing video. It was at the store. So yeah. That's the only other thing that... I did not get to try the iPhone 5. Although it looks on the website like it's better build quality than the iPod Touch 5th generation. Let me go to Apple. iPhone, iPod. iPod Touch. Yeah, the iPod Touch looks like it's solidly built, but it's really not. Yeah, the iPhone 5, just from looking at it on the website, I can tell that the iPhone 5 has a much better build quality than the 5th generation iPod Touch. Much better. The iPod Touch was just, it felt cheap. The iPhone 5, I know, is still the same good. It's actually, it looks like it would feel more solid than the last generation did. That's all I'm going to say there. I haven't really liked the iPhone 5's design ever since they went away from the 3GS was the last one that had like the curved back. When they made it so that it was like the kind of box, then I did not like that. That was the iPhone 4. But yeah, the iPhone 5 looks like it's solid build quality. At least compared to the iPod Touch. Everything is solid build quality compared to the iPod Touch 5th generation. So yeah, that was just my first, 30-second per device, couple minute per device impressions of Apple's newest generation of products. So yeah, once again, this is not my full review. I could totally change my mind about any of these at any point in time, but just went to the Apple Store yesterday, wanted to get a video out today. So yeah. That was just my first impressions of Apple's latest generation of devices. So yeah, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the Nerd on the Street, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and please like my videos, because, yeah, people have been telling me that my videos are good, but I have a surprisingly large dislike to like ratio, so please like my videos if you are a subscriber. So yeah, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the Nerd on the Street, and I will see you later. See ya.